And I should be live. Gonna check the chat to see if I'm actually live and living in the YouTube zone. Test. Cannot submit change to server. That's annoying. And try again. I'll just say hello. If anyone can verify. Reload just because last time this was wonky. And we have Kexlord saying hello. I shouldn't probably have that tab open. I have Mr. Snarping Guy, as always, Mr. JoJo Reference. Who are you again? I am Etra from Etra Games, and today we are going to finish this course I'm making for non-gamers. So, the whole idea was to originally teach them how to play Journey. And that's still the idea, except it only kinda worked. We have a whole, sheet here that worked through. And here's all the stuff that was added. The checkmark stuff is the stuff that actually worked. Plus is things that were important I kinda forgot about, which was a lot, which means we needed to rework this whole thing, and I'm doing that in 3 phases. First, I'm blocking it out, where, we can see roughly where the space of everything is supposed to be, so we don't have any camera issues, with camera being the main focus of this game. That's super important. And then, secondly, adding functional details, like little orbs that go from here to the light to indicate to new players that these are linked. And then finally, an extra detail where I actually add sound effects and all that. But for now, this is mostly finished. My idea is to block out and finish the functionality of the ending today. And instead of talking over everything for 20 minutes, we're now at a point that I can just show you all. I'm gonna check stream real quick first. My messy desktop has appeared. There we go. See if I get rid of show desktop items. Is the stream going okay? Can everyone hear me properly? Hello, Doge Master. Oh, I might know who you are with that name. Boomer Time, hi. Everyone hear my voice, the music, everything leveled out? Any issues? Or are we good? It's all good. Epic. Well, that means I can introduce the people who weren't here to what this is about, and show the people who were here last time all the new progress and stuff. So, first thing that starts out is they're given a prompt to... Oh, did all the prompts disappear? No, they didn't. I'm just... pretend that didn't happen. I'm just too impatient to wait 3 seconds for my own prompts I made. So, it starts out, they're introduced to W, which will allow them to move forward. Let me make this a bit bigger. I didn't maximize it, but probably should have. And then from here, they'll get a prompt to use the little blip thing from Journey. And if they hold it for even a slight amount of time, this door will open. And then they'll learn these steps, which weren't taught in the previous program, except are in Journey. Then we reach this spot where they're going to have to do a larger blip to hit this one over here, and this one over here at the same time to open the door. I don't know why that light was red, but that's a thing we'll deal with in the second run through. So, jumps up here, and these things right here are supposed to be these little tapestry things from Journey, if I can pull up last video. Long story short, what happened is our first new player basically had no idea what to do in this bridge section, and as you'll see in a second, what happens is you hit these tapestries and they deform to go and build a bridge. And it's not going to be that fancily animated. I have no animations for this, but I'm right now. But I want to have this be a tapestry and this be a tapestry. So they'll walk up to the edge here, and there's a reason they'll do that. Explained it last stream, but there will be a little light orb there following. move backwards, get a prompt for moving left and right, and hopefully should be able to work out that they can interact with the tapestries, because they've been able to interact with everything else so far. And then they'll be able to move forward across this. And here is where we get our first camera movement, which is going to be wonky on the keyboard. Uh-oh, did I mess this up? I did, because I have stuff reordered now. Here we go. So now I've unlocked jumping. I'm not jumping. Looking up and down, and they should see that down here is a platform to walk on, and they don't have to somehow magically teleport over there. So they'll see a use for looking up and down, and then over here, they're going to have to use it again to see the stairs, and then they'll get the unlock for jumping. I'm doing all these UI prompts manually because they're not programmed in yet. And then they'll have it so they have to hold W and the mouse button, or the controller buttons if you're using a controller, preferably. And then so they don't have to time any actions here. Here is where they have to time actions, and they'll be using looking up and down to space their jumps. And then we also have, after these first two jumps, height differences, which I didn't have in the first game. And they'll have to jump to this higher platform, jump to this lower platform, and then higher platform again. You also see that overall they keep on getting higher and higher and higher up from the initial part they were at. Soccer Tetris actually, those is one piece of device for before the whole testing began, and I'm like, yeah, maybe in the rework, and turned out working well. So they'll have another bridge to activate, and to activate this one, they have to combine all their skills they previously learned of jumping, holding down the blip, and releasing the charge. And then once they go across the bridge, they finally unlock the ability to move. Let's see if I find the right button here. Yeah, left and right. So they'll be able to move left and right. And at this point, I'm unsure if I want to also lock their moving up and down. But yeah, just checking chat here real quick. But that is where we'll look into for testing, and we'll figure that out for testing. And about testing, I need test subjects for this program. So see that little bar down there? We have 3 people signed up who are willing to test this game. So if you have any loved one that you want to run through this 15-minute training program, please email me at the email link below. The main reason I'm doing this live stream is to get as many test subjects as physically possible to make this perfect before I put it in the official How Your Parents Can Play Journey episode. So, oh, and Journey is why he's got the giant moon jump that everyone keeps mentioning. So they'll have to turn the camera to the right to see where they're supposed to be going, then immediately to the left to show them they can move their camera left and right, and what was I gonna say? And show that right off the bat. Then they'll have to move it left again, and all this geometry is gonna be replaced. It's just placeholder for now. I've got like a wooden actual bridge plank thing. And then, the door has disappeared. It's probably somewhat important. But they will turn around inside this tree here. And in the tree, if I can get my mouse to be oriented correctly, this is why I highly recommend a controller, yet again. Probably should have done that, but the prompts would be all messed up, so I decided to show it off with this. We have this thing right here, which, if you use your imagination, looks exactly like these tapestries from Journey that make you, that boost your jump here. Let me scoot forward. Long story short, our test subject kept on failing this jump repeatedly, and it required a few things. First, it required her to get out of the water using a vertical jump, which she didn't know how to do because the training program didn't teach it. and Journey didn't test it for over 2 hours. And then she has to touch these tapestry things with her blip, and what they do is they give her a big jump boost, and then after that she's got to jump in the air, sort of like a double jump, to get to the next platform. But she failed that. The idea is that they don't fail that. And let's check this here. I mean, my mom would be perfect, but she doesn't speak English, so that would make it a bit harder. Hey, there are 4 words. If you email me, Rising Moon, I can work with you, and we can probably translate those 4 words, and it should be good to go. I would love for you to email me so we get another test subject if you're interested in that. In Journey, if you want to try out Journey, which, even though I'm talking about all these problems, went relatively well for Soccer Tetris's mom, it only has 1 word in the entire game, which is Journey, as its little title screen blip. And actually, the guy I mentioned previously, Soccer Tetris, made a whole video about removing language, removing everything, made it more focused on the human connection of the game. And then JoJo Reference, a wonderful name. I would like to, but my dad knows how to play games and my mom doesn't do video games. That's a shame. I just hate the doesn't do video games. It's again, back to my thesis of the other video I made about why your parents don't play video games. As in, imagine a world where only movies were only made for women over 40, music was only made for men over 80, and books were only made for teenage girls. And that would be absolutely crazy, but then we have our real world where we've got video games only advertised to men under 30 years old, and everyone seems to accept that without any question. And the whole reasoning behind it, go watch that video if you're interested. But my whole idea is, hopefully, if we can break this game literacy barrier and inform about the whole thing of video games probably not making you a violent sociopath. There has been no consistent evidence really anywhere linking video games and violent behavior. There is evidence with surveys and tests all over the place, but not consistent evidence. And Fire Emblem Jam is coming up. Might want to turn that a bit down. Oh, perfect. I never played through Journey. I might ask her tomorrow then. I will keep you in mind, Rising Moon. Just email me, link in description. Not link in description. Email in the description. It will be, you can email me tomorrow, and yeah, I'll keep that in mind, and then next time I can fill up this little bar. If there is a next time. Getting pretty close to finishing this. You could also do an icon instead of words, like a person walking instead of walk. It's honestly not a bad idea, because part of me was wondering if I should even have these words. That's why, if I had enough test subjects, I wanted to just remove the words, and then just when they click the button, they'll say, oh, this makes me jump. Oh, this makes me move. And honestly, the only issue with that is remembering what each button does. And if you do enough repetitions of it before moving on to the next thing, you'd be able to memorize it. But repetition after repetition after repetition gets a bit boring pretty quickly, and you want to keep the new player's attention when overall this program doesn't have too much exciting going for it, because we frankly don't have enough time to make anything too exciting, except for these little tapestry things, which are supposed to explode, fuse into the player when they do this little blip, and they have a higher jump than normal with this, and from that they can also jump and then do a second jump here, which is what was needed for this jump in Journey that Soccer Tetris's mom just couldn't make. So that's why I'm teaching it here. Now over here, they are going to be forced to turn to the right and make a normal jump, but this time it's to an upward diagonal platform. If they're just staring at the floor, they can't make that jump. And then right here, we have another batch of tapestries. They're going to have to look straight up in order to even see this platform. And we have our big jump here. And if you are a pro speedrunner, man, you can actually see the other platform there and just jump off here and then do a second jump. Sorry, I'm doing terrible with the camera controls. I just can't loop the mouse because they keep on going into the rest of the Unity editor. But pretending I'm playing the game normally and not doing epic speedrun strats. We jump up here, and then this is about where I'm at. They're gonna wrap around here, and oh yeah, that's just placeholder. I'm like, that shouldn't be here. And the idea is for them to jump and then activate this batch of tapestries in mid-air to get across. Because I mean, they can make it this way, but they can't do a normal jump this way, can they? I have failed. I need to fix that really quick here. But yeah, this is the section I'm working on and finishing up, because I haven't fully designed the exact specifications of what I want this last curve to be, and inside the tree head will be the ending of last time, where it forces you to turn 180 degrees and then get to the star, which is now at the top of the tree. We'll pretend that it was always at the top of the tree. There we go. Bam. And the game's gonna start by panning out from this star all the way down to our poor little player, who may be intimidated by that. I don't know. We'll see. But we have a nice, smooth, everything's always increasing in verticality. So if you're going up, you know you're going in the right direction. So, yeah, I'm going to run through chat again because I'm seeing a few more messages out of the corner of my eye. Because any suggestions on this, I'm not perfect yet. I'm getting there. But, what was I going to say? Basically, I can entirely forget. See, I'm not perfect. Any suggestions you guys have, any other ideas, that'd be fantastic. But for now, I'm just going to finish the blocking out of this, and it's going to be a bit of a short stream today, like 45 minutes left here, because 4th of July, and I got to do things with my family, which I'm looking forward to. So let's see here. I want to check statistics stuff over here, because, you know, doing YouTube means you always have to be after more and more and more data. So, are you a fellow follower of Lord Mudkip? Mudkip, frankly, is the best starter in Hoenn, so it's not that bad to be a follower of his kind. So, first thing I gotta do here is open up this tool called Pro Builder, which lets you build these trees and all these models in Unity and select different faces, and frankly it has quite a few limitations that are somewhat difficult to work around, but we can figure that out. So I'm just gonna take this face here, push it back, and take our player all the way over from here and bring him back to our little testing zone. See. And yeah, one thing that threw me off guard that I wasn't expecting to have to deal with was respawning points. In the previous jumps, if you like fell off here, then you just teleport right before the jump. But when you're working with a vertical tree here, what's going to happen? You're just going to fall below and the player's going to get incredibly frustrated, and I don't necessarily want that. So my idea for that is just when they fall off into a platform area that they're not supposed to fall to, for example, in the tree here, if they miss this jump here, I don't want them landing on the previous bridge. So if they like hit a hitbox here, their camera's gonna freeze and the character is gonna fall. It's gonna fade to black and respawn them right here. So a lot smoother than in the beta version before this whole rework. And now, if we just try to jump here, oh. Yeah, there's every single message in the game popping out at once. If I just try to jump, I don't think I'm gonna make it. Yep, just fall short. So if our new player decides to try to jump, let's make that even harder, because I thought that was more difficult. Let's try grabbing this and this evenly, and just, yeah, evening that out like so. I extended this door frame a little bit, just so they know that it's important for here. And regarding door frames, this was missing one, so let me just copy paste and put a door frame back here. And the only reason for the door frames is because Pro Builder here, the tool I'm using, is glitching out and not letting me fill in the little sections between this doorway here. So like you can see through, or you can see down into the ground there. Usually you could just fill in the holes of that mesh, but for some reason on this specific mesh it just doesn't do anything. And I researched for a solid hour, and sometimes Pro Builder just be like that is the answer I got, which is always great. A wonderful programming answer after you spend an hour on something. Let's see here. Gotta pull back everything here. So, Luke, when did you gain the beard? Quarantine, my friend. Quarantine was the perfect time to experiment with facial hair. And save the idea for can your parents play Get Over It? Which idea? And no, I don't think I'm following that suggestion. Oh, yeah, the falling. Someone else just mentioned the falling. The falling and respawning in a very short area away. Maybe so they don't get annoyed, failing to jump and respawning in a strange place. Could you do quick saving? My dad understood quick saving fairly quickly, and that could work. Possibly, it would just be an extra step for the non-gamer to do, and that might be overwhelming. And to alleviate that, we can make the program even longer and add even more things, and make the program even longer, add even more things, so things are more spaced out. Add a story, add custom music, and then you already have your own full game at this point. So there's only so much development time I want to put into one project for, what was I gonna say? So much development time I want to put in one project, lest it becomes its own full game. And that's something I'd like to do in the future, but for now, I just want to figure out some stuff, some high-level stuff I may miss with non-gamers playing games. For example, in Journey, what happened with Socrates' mom, which I'm going to mention at least 30 more times here, because this, I think, is the most fascinating test result I've ever looked at here. Basically, the input complexity, the amount of buttons she had to press on this controller at once, decreased for 3 stages, and then when it was reintroduced, she didn't know how to press multiple buttons at once again, or greatly struggled with it. So stuff like that, like having a constant input complexity, is stuff I definitely would miss if I went straight to the game route. And if I don't do the YouTube stuff well enough, then I don't get any test subjects, like down there, especially in quarantine. Because I don't really have a budget as a college student. Would be a good idea to add an outline or something around the doors. I feel like the color of the doorway and the tree could be hard to tell the difference for some people. You know what? You are right. I did not think about colorblind or... well, you don't even have to be colorblind. It's blue I don't know what would stand out most from brown. I know blue stands out most from orange, but maybe making this a lighter shade. The get over it thing was a joke, by the way. Yeah, I know. Why do you bother to make games for a dying generation? That's a bit grim. But it's more the fact that, I would like my parents to play video games. When I want to be a game developer, I want them to fully experience and fully know and understand what I'm making and not just struggle through it and have no clue what's going on because they're so distracted. And that's kind of where this whole project rooted from. But white is a good contrast to brown. That's actually very, very good note. And you're saying dying generation. Dying generation for... this is very grim, but I personally don't believe my parents are going to die for another 50 years. And within that 50 years, I feel like there's still a market to capitalize on. And regardless if there's a market to capitalize on in the future, there are so many people, even in my generation, which have avoided video games due to social pressure and, what was I going to say? And the media. And a lot of that is toning down, but they don't know where to start. Like I mentioned for reading, you start with phonics books. What I'm trying to make is phonics book style video games, so anyone who wants to get into gaming can have a good place to start. And I found out why these haven't been invented yet is basically no one's had enough test subjects where they didn't have enough of a budget to invest in a bunch of test subjects, and nobody had a platform yet where they could gather an audience for free. Instead, that cost a lot of money, because especially if, how are you going to find test subjects which specifically don't fulfill a certain category? Like, if you wanted to find a bunch of people who all ate paper towels, you would go to the paper towel eating foundation. But if you are trying to gather people who do not eat paper towels, how do you advertise to them? I mean, you could advertise to most sane people, but you get what I mean, where it's much harder to find groups of people who don't do things than groups of people who do things. And let me see, how am I on music? Oh yeah, good. So... yeah, that's why I make games for a dying generation, because it's not just for their generation. Just make it hot pink. That's fantastic. White's a good contrast to brown. I will put white on there real quick, because the newer generation can be used as as possible. A lighter blue would probably work fine. Can use a hex editor and get Unity dark theme. I'm going to write down hex editor, because I have no clue what a hex is, but it's probably something that's going to help with this modeling stuff. Message redacted. I know a bunch of peers that don't play video games. Yeah, well, especially if, what was I gonna say? Like, if you were someone slightly older than my age, or any women in America, basically, there were games never advertised to your demographic because you were not a boy in the demographic of the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. And this problem is actually supposedly, from by secret sources, that's all I've got to say here, is supposedly much worse of a contrast in America than everywhere else, because in America is where this whole advertising thing started, and I'm getting off track here, but yeah, there are plenty of people who, if interested, could get use out of this Phonics games who are not boomers, as you call them. Which game will you do next for how your parents can play? I suggest Cave Story. Game singular is the note that I'll have to say. Pay very close attention to that word, because it may not be consistent. And then, I mean, even just Girls of this Generation is a market that could be tapped into way more. Yeah, Hex color coding. Oh yeah, color coding. Got it. Lol, I see my chat. Who would advertise to paper towel eatering people? That's my next series, is 5 years when I've educated every single person in the planet on how to play video games, is how your parents can eat paper towels. Mark my word. And it's just basically a guide to, I don't know, pinning them down in a chair and shoving paper towels down their throat and getting arrested for the crime. But for now, let's actually start working on the project here. So I'm going to make a hole in the tree here in the most obscure way possible, because Pro Builder be like that. And I get to fuse the faces of all of these. And oopsie daisy. So yeah, again, anyone watching, looking for those test subjects this stream, trying to get to 10 on my little bar here, email me. There's a link in description below. I'll get a little note on my phone. So with this, what you have to do is you have to scale your doorway and hold shift to get the correct duplicated extrude, and then shrink it down to an approximate size, move that up, and kind of divide this whole mesh into 10,000 different faces, which in my opinion is not the coolest thing in the world, but it do be like that sometimes. We're gonna move that up and teleport through the wall. Okay. And are we good to go? Are we all in bounds here? I think we are. I can get rid of that. And it is perfect. Just as expected from a master Unity user who has used this for his very first project. So they should be able to jump here, and I actually didn't test the jump part. I'm gonna try to maybe turn my character around would be nice here. Yeah, turn my character around without hitting the other monitor. There we go. So if I just jump here, I shouldn't be able to make it. I'm gonna try to do a 360 turn around, get that, and we have an issue with the tree here. And then they'll start moving up this way. So let's fix that little tree bump, which was over here. Yeah. Grab that edge. This is also my first time modeling anything in Pro Builder, so that is one reason I'm not super proficient at it, but I am learning. And that's how you get better. If it will let me select it. And it still has not let me select it. And okay, let's try it again. Okay, I don't know why this ain't moving. We just kind of create more of it. Let's see if I could. Can I see the points that actually make this edge? Select them and move them out of the way. Yeah, this is gonna be all messed up, but at this point, I frankly don't care that much. Okay, now, also messed up. Okay, fine. Then we just do the opposite. We take this wall and we stretch it a tiny bit, and that is also what I did not want to do. Move it that way. Boom, boom. And make sure this is even enough. No one will know the difference, and no one will notice in this small free internet program. Cool, cool, cool. Doorway complete. Hex color coding, look forward for it. I love how they're called. Better than the boomer I live with. I love that. I love that, actually. Just parodying Rasmussen. Ripped off my idea. No. He had no clue who I was at the time. And I only made the Deltarune video, so. But I'm glad he raised much more awareness to this issue, even though he's not really sharing any ways to fix this issue. He's like, hey, this exists and it has a name, and getting that out to people is step one of the most important pieces, which is actually why I ended up changing the how your parents can play idea and use non-gamers more in my titles now, is because of his series. So now here is the part where I haven't fully worked out yet. My idea would be that they would jump and turn in the middle of a jump. So kind of have this flattened out and then have a platform here, because that's something they haven't done yet. But to do that in this engine is probably going to be a bit of a nightmare. Like most things in Unity, but yeah, I do greatly prefer Unreal Engine after trying both out for a moderate amount of time, but what was I gonna say? All these platforms here are gonna be temporary, so if I'm going quickly through this, don't worry. I have like these wood planks I can actually pull up here. They're gonna replace the bridges here. So instead of having like this weird looking texture, these planks are gonna be covering the things and building a bridge. You used to explode these in version 1, but now they're being repurposed. And think of a bridge kind of like this, and with a nice little railing once I get to there. So now we want to be here, and then have a jump, which is easy enough to see, but enough where they need to jump forward and then turn. And then they'll also be looking to the left this time instead of jumping to the right, so that should test a few things at once here. Poke my head in chat real quick. Questions of coming generation that has grown up with mobile games needs the same attention. I mean, it should work for just about everyone. I've got a video coming up with more test subject results only focused on the ones I got from the FPS game. Coming, actually, I think right after this Journey one. So in Rasputin's videos, he says that Minecraft and Animal Crossing are great entry points. Maybe something about those games are good for non-gamers. About both of those both are very creative games, is something I noted, in very calm, relaxing games. I have to rewatch his Minecraft video because I don't think they finished the game or beat the Ender Dragon. They just played for a while in it and built and then moved on. And doing that doesn't require as much complex actions as actually beating the game or actually beating other games. So the less complex it is, the easier it is to get into and be entry points. Is there a reason you're using Unity if you prefer working in Unreal? Yes, Unreal is not friendly to anyone with a potato computer or laptop. So about 60% of the people who downloaded my training program last time couldn't even play it. Unity is much more calm. We could learn to play games without any special games that teach games. Why do you think those people cannot? Because they are not babies. Y'all just need to go watch my Why Your Parents Don't Play Video Games video. Just answers most of these questions, except the algorithm like killed it. And yeah, because kids have more patience. Well, patience in a broad sense. I mentioned this last time, but baby is always like, ooh, what does this thing do? Ooh, what happens if I stick it in my mouth or lick the power outlet? Ooh, what happens when I press this button? Okay, I'm gonna drop that game for like a month, and the next month I'm gonna say, oh, what happens if I press these buttons? And then my baby nephew has been doing this over the past few months, and so far he keeps on booting up Rocket League. He tells us to put on car game, and after about 6 months, he's now able to drive forward and tilt barely to the right and left and jump, but not at the same time. So he's visiting the game every once in a while, getting better and better and better, because he's used to that trial by error learning. Whereas people like me, an adult, or anyone else, just isn't used to that trial by error learning. And actually, I heard him coming in earlier. It's probably an age thing. Children are much more likely to get enjoyment out of experimenting. Actually, right there, children are much more likely to get enjoyment out of experimenting, not even with games, while older folk get frustrated more easily. Yeah, I like playing card game too. Rocket League and me, I have the game. My brother and dad love it to death, but it's not my cup of tea personally. Probably because I haven't played it enough to be super duper precise, but it's become a fascinating talking point when I stalk my 3-year-old nephew on literally every button press he does on card game. One of the most difficult obstacles I found while trying to teach a non-gamer is the lack of effort. Yeah, so they're not going to be interested in games if the media demonizes them constantly, because guess what's going to replace video soon enough? Games. And it's, why would they support the push of this new art form that can do even more than their art form, and just that core root of newspapers? And remember all those rumors that sitting close to the TV would rot your brain? Remember all those things demonizing the television, and now they're all gone. Now it's demonizing the next new art form, which is adds another step of things you can do. Instead of just watching the screen, you can now interact with the screen in real time. This is a good time. Hello, Gary. Or kids can literally dedicate hours and hours. Adults just can't. And yeah, when I was younger, I would try to brute force my parents to learn video games. Started making them play Spider-Man until they rage quit. Then a car race game as well. It always ended in rage quits. And it does for my nephew as well. But instead of raging and shattering the controller, he just says, okay, I'm bored with this. Let's try this next week and I'll move on. And if adults had that persistence, maybe, as babies are much more persistent than adults when it comes to unclear goals and learning. I don't know. I'll just have, maybe I should make a video that's just, this here is why babies are better than boomers, and go into depth on that whole why Phonics books games haven't been made, but then it takes time from doing stuff like this, so we'll see. On this point, let's duplicate this thing and just delete all the faces on this, because I don't really need the rest of this object at the moment. I know this is a horror practice, but frankly, this is all going to be replaced by those wood planks I mentioned earlier, so it really doesn't matter at this stage, at least. If this was the final version, then yeah, it would most definitely matter. Because then we get an empty face there. I think I can fill it easily if ProBuilder will let me, but it's really finicky with this. Let's see. I just select all of them, and I click Fill Hole, and hey, it worked this time. Fantastic. Now, I'm gonna take this, make it a bit higher, tear off this edge here. Yeah. Usually I try to do, I've focused on the programming objects aspect of things in my previous streams, but I'm so unfamiliar with Unity most of that would be Googling at this point. So trying more the modeling and actual level building aspect here. Let's see how that does. Let's see. Oh, and it is the boy Giorgio. Fantastic. It's late as heck over here. I apologize. Yes, God came to visit us. I've always wanted to make a game, but I don't like the designing part. I more enjoy the programming. There's a huge field for just software engineers who just take the designs of UX, user experience designers, take those and program them into apps and whatever, so look into that. Etra, you're doing a great thing for game community. I mean, if there were, what I was gonna say, if this actually takes off, and it's nice to help the few people on channel and stuff, but hopefully this can reach even more people than that. Gotta be a bit more active about it, but I gotta focus on that after these projects are actually done, so don't want to get that out of order. Why do you do such a thing, Pro Builder? Did you see how it kinda merged into itself? I want to just take this and push it back. Oh, okay. So it's not going to kill me for that right now. At the moment, it's not going for my head. So I will put it like here. And then I want to flatten this out because I'm going to make these bridges square. I'm just going to space them so it's easier to work with later on. So I've got this edge here. I'm guessing there's like a hidden edge I don't have. Okay, now it's just disappeared. Or has it? I don't know. Gotta go where I select the little vertexes now instead of the edges. And there we go. So now if I look here, I can't see that super well. So I'm gonna pull that out. And even if it's an easy jump, they still have to move forward and then turn their character in midair. And then lean it down a bit so it's like, hey, you can jump here. Okay, now where's my character? Let's test this out while that's loading. And on chat. I've always meant to make a good game, don't like the design part. There's a lot of people interested in game design. Aren't game designers dime a dozen these days in indie dev forums? Yeah, you could probably find people to help you with that. Okay, bye, Mudkip Man. Yeah, see ya, nerd. What was I gonna say? We only have our shrine for Giorgio leaving, sadly. If we had a shrine for everyone leaving, I think that would be a bit too crazy. What was I gonna say? So now they should see it. My one thing is if they look right here, they should see that this is longer. That should be their indicator to walk over here. And then, yeah, I can't just angle the camera and go straight. I have to turn my character or turn my camera in midair to actually land this jump. So, there we go. And then finally, do I really need any other jumps? It's about it, testing everything I needed to. I wanted to do diagonal downward jumps, but I think downward jumps should be self-explanatory, and there's 0 in Journey. So by the time they complete Journey, they should be familiar with jumps enough to make a jump where they have to go diagonally downward somewhat easy. And again, to space that out, I'd have a bigger game, but then bigger game includes not actually making the videos and much more problems. So now we're entering the final room and final section here. So do we have like a door in the tree, or how about like stairs leading up here? And then we'll take this base duplicate it. It's just a flat plane, so when they look up, they won't really see the star at the top. Maybe they should, but they also need a ground to stand on when they get here. Make a ground that's only sometimes invisible. That would definitely not be confusing in the slightest. So that's the idea. To make a door frame here is a bit weird, though. I could increase the tree height for a door frame. It's probably the best thing to do. But do I want the ending to be, like, in the leaves itself, or right below that? Because my idea was it would be right here. Or my original idea was it ended on top of the tree, but then they don't really have buttons to wrap their way up with. Because then they'll exit out this way, because I've got this little button puzzle worked out for that. Then I guess if they open up and go through the leaves here, they could wrap around or just turn around, do a jump to get to the star at the top of the tree. I don't know, we might have one piece of wood hanging out there, but that should work. Probably was half gibberish what I just said, but let's see. One thing I missed in the FPS game was that it didn't teach boomers how to do 360 no-scopes. Aw, darn. Yeah, very weird thing for a non-gamer to be able to correct their trajectory mid-jump. This game is like Moon Gravity, intentional to imitate Journey. Any recording software test subjects could use anything. I just need test subjects. OBS is free. Actually, not even OBS. Just press Windows and G on your laptop and you can record any game if you have a Windows 10 system. So Mr. Tom Gamer, if you have some loved one interested / you could convince into trying this 15-minute program, message me through my email down in the video description. And yeah, even record from a phone is what I could even work with. Or you could just verbally tell me every little thing that happened, but I think that would be a very long email to write back. So, yeah, I think they should try tilting their trajectory one more time here. Like they did the last time. And we will flatten this out. Or actually, I don't even know. We will... This ended by being flat, kind of, where it was on the edge and instead was flat. Let's just do the same here. Kind of like that. So, get rid of this whole thing. Okay, awesome. So, we can piece this together here. And now it's all flat, exactly what we want. And now I can fill this in. Connect vertices. Oh yeah, I need to do the edge thing to fill a hole, because, you know, it just do be like that. That's how programming works, is things only work on occasion in very specific instances. But there's no really rhyme or reason why half the time. I mean, there is, but not one that's apparent. Okay. Now, if we can take... That's a bit messed up over there. We can take one of these, duplicate and tilt it. And we want this to be 150 degrees. No, we want it to be 60 degrees, because each of these are 60 degrees. -60, And then just drag it over here. They're performing the same exact action twice, which is the only time they're gonna do this. Do an action twice in the training program, exactly twice. But there's gonna be a door at the end of this one. This one's gonna be a bit higher, and this is a very important thing to figure out, is to redirect yourself in midair. And now, I want to kind of add another vertices here, flatten this out for the doorway, or we could add something here, which actually, now we have the, I hate that this is 3D all of a sudden, because it's causing more and more problems. We can do something where this is blocked off by something, because they're supposed to go through the entrance here and not quite jump up here. I don't know. Let's make a doorway here and then work that issue out. Before I make that doorway, let's lift this up a tiny bit more. So even if they try, yeah, they can't reach that. The doorway is equal to the jump height of our player. Fantastic. Seeing a few more messages in chat I'm gonna check up on. Okay. So, I swear Rasputin's wife is more of a gamer than I am at that point. And yeah, I wonder how much longer the series can functionally go for. And that was said in the very first episode, is eventually it's gonna run at, she's gonna become too gamer that the series is meaningless. And he's kinda introducing her to every genre of game. Like, they even did casual games this time. And it's kind of a path to help introduce people to games without providing any tools. It's just, the biggest issue I always see is that step one. Each step is progressively easier. You even saw this in Rasputin's video. But, it's like, even the first game she completed, what was it? Because the next video, the next video was on Breath of the Wild, but she just got through the intro section. And, has she ever completed a video game before? I think she has. Can you be a gamer if you've never beaten a video game before? Nah, I'm not gonna gatekeep like that, but, let's see. I feel like a guide wouldn't be complete if, they didn't go through, if I didn't go through the entire game. So, let's see. Minecraft, I know they didn't do the Ender Dragon. Multiplayer, I guess you could say. Casual games, you can't really beat them. So, frankly, has she ever beaten a video game? See, that's what I want to achieve, is have someone 100% beat a video game. I like his idea of letting her taste certain genres, but that's never a complete experience. It's like watching the intro to a movie 10 times. It's, I don't know, without ever fully completing it. It's Mod Guy. And yeah, hey Dark Gratian. Got my dad to test the game for non-gamers, and it was a success. Awesome. The FPS program. If you sent me a test result, probably still in the pile of the ones I'm getting back to, but I'll talk to about more of them. Oh, you're heading out, Dark Glacian, or wait. Oh wait, no, Rising Moon. Got it. See you. Cheers. First half of the game was climbing up the tallest Christmas tree in existence. I'm unsure what you mean by that. Are you adding checkpoints to this game? I mean, kinda. If they fall, they'll just respawn on the previous platform. Might want to add arrows to this part so boomers don't get confused about where to go. Possibly. Like some floating arrows, or actually that little light orb I was talking about, if they see it whisk by in the left direction once they're heading out here, I feel like that's a much more natural way of introducing the mechanic. Instead of just big flashy arrow. So I'm gonna take, do we have a doorway on this side? No, we don't. So I'm gonna take a doorway here. Yes, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Probably not. It's gonna frustrate me if I don't somehow get this finished in the next 9 minutes, but I think I can finish this up here real quick. 240, 120. No, I think it's just gonna rotate and try to be garbage no matter how I make it. Let's try 180. Is that? It's all by degrees of 60 at the moment, and right here works moderately well. I can drag this wall over here. I think one of them is rotated the opposite way incorrectly. And we'll take that. We don't need that to be lawn, but it's just gonna show us consistent door frame size. And how about we just raise the tree up a bit, and then when they enter here, should they see the green or should they just see more wood? I think they should just see more wood here until they get out, or like open up stairs which wrap them up to the actual tree center, and get rid of this and have light shining through onto the star. Probably again didn't make too much sense, but it should look neato. Okay, pull that up. Oh, wrong way. Should probably know my own levels. Don't want to make the ceiling too small, because the last game was claustrophobic for a lot of people, supposedly. And that was understandable, because the game was had a lot of indoor sections, which is why this game is almost 100% outdoor. I don't know, is the inside of a tree indoors? I've never really had to ask that question. Never thought I would have to ask that question in my life, but now that I have, I'm quite curious if the inside of a tree is considered to be indoors. Okay. Now, just gonna, chat has disappeared from my view. Grab it again. And answer a few more questions here. Prince of Persia 2008. Probably wouldn't experiment with that because it's on a very specific console. But thank you for the suggestion. Minecraft should be a game design program. Just came to say that is an exquisite thumbnail, and the thumbnails have a strategy. I'm trying to do like 2 to 3 of them, and because of our wonderful midget button from last time, which just made him wide, I'm just gonna make the thumbnails with the character on them progressively wider. And let me see if this is even pulled up yet. So when you see the playlist of these, you're going to see, yeah, so we've got the one guy, then he's going to be wider until it covers the entire thumbnail. I have a master plan, although I think there should only be one more stream after this. Let's make the other doorway here. Sorry if I don't get to the rest of chat at this point, because I'm gonna finish this here. And then I gotta get going in like 5 minutes. So, rather short stream, but I wanted to do it, share progress update, and try to get another test subject, which is, again, email me in description if you have a loved one willing to try out this 15-minute program. I don't know which way this was. It shouldn't matter if this is flipped upside down. Probably does matter, but realistically it shouldn't matter. And actually, since this is stretched the way it is, I gotta use this full shrink tool here before I move this up. Is that too big? I think it's too big. And it decides to, like, break everything in its way, creating a really annoyingly complex mesh I have to sort out. Let me move this over to the center a bit more. Oh, gotta grab the whole objects, not just part of them. And yeah, that's close enough to the center. I can take the middle section here and the middle section on the other side. Seems like the floor in there has to be adjusted. Okay, right there. Gonna bring this up. Shut it down here. And okay. Alright. You guys saw that. It's bigger, and then I zoom in and it's smaller. Did I grab a different object here? Alright, okay, there it goes into the abyss. Do I need to hold shift when I do that? I think I do. Let me redo. Didn't know I had to press shift when I moved as well. Okay. Nope, it just kind of decided to break because I didn't do it properly in its eyes. And this is what just making a hole in a wall in Unity is. And frankly, there is a tool to do this, but it doesn't function. So it's really kind of useless when the tool doesn't function. Maybe it was too high here. And let me just make this smaller than it needs to be. I can always extend it. Actually, I think that's the perfect size. Stretch it down, and finally move this up without any issues. Boom. Okay. Awesome. So now, if I... and it only happened to one face. Wonderful. So this shows you how experienced I am with this Pro Builder modeling software. But I'll just look here. Let's see. Are you gonna replace the textures at some point? Yes. Yes, that's the second run through here. Thick boy. They look exactly like Mario 64. What do you mean? I would sign up my mom, but it's currently midnight and don't want to wake her. Hey, I will take the email tomorrow, any time of day. 2 more emails would be fantastic here. A lot of people were talking about choice-based games, most choice-based games, how all the things non-gamers would hate, QuickTime events. I haven't even considered that. Actually, I'm gonna write that down. I think I have it somewhere in my things you need to learn for FPS list. But, QuickTime events, top 10 gamer kryptonite. I mean, because you just gotta find a button on the controller quickly, and if they have no clue what the buttons even are, then it's kind of a mess. Visual novels are barely games anyway, unfortunately. I mean, they don't require a high amount of game literacy. It doesn't mean they're not games, but I get what you mean. It's the definition of a game really kind of depends on its literacy. Like, a lot of people don't consider mobile games games, and they can't answer a clear reason why. If you just say game literacy, it kind of solves itself. Usually, with the little touch screen, you can't show much, teach much, whatever. I'm just trying to clear this out. Even make a hole in a wall is a mess in this engine. But yeah, so I'll have to do that properly in the future. But for now, it's 6 o'clock. And I have to go celebrate 4th of July with my family. But glad to give you guys a little update, answer a few more questions. Next live stream, I want to be my final live stream. and just go through, polish up everything, and have it all complete. So thanks for joining me. Time to just chill, laid back stream this time. Yeah, as for FPS games, imagine at the end of this community of boomers playing multiplayer games. I had a dream where I could potentially visit a bunch of retirement homes, make multiplayer games that teach you like this, and just tour retirement homes, teaching them how to play multiplayer video games with each other and with their grandchildren. It would be fantastic. But yeah, it just turned 5th. Happy 4th of July. Forgot that was a thing. I kinda did too today. But yeah, see you guys. I'm gonna have to end it for now, but I should have a pretty solid, close to final version done next time, and I'll look forward to showing you guys that